girl of yours? You know you're not supposed to be in town with her.
She needs help.
Well, I'll see to it Doc Steelbender comes take a look at her.
Tell me, what's it like to be a doctor who can't save a life?
I'll let you know next time you find yourself sick.
I need to get her to Preacher Ross. He gonna save her.
Some preacher hocus pocus ain't gonna make a damn bit of difference.
You don't believe in the devil, Doctor?
Tall tales and fictions. Excuse us. We're looking for some water.
Well, now, that's something we have plenty of.
They were after you, girl.
Why would they be after her?
This child carries in her all that is wicked.
We gotta go. He took her. He took her.
I shall release her through the righteous power of these hands.
No!
I understand trying all you can to save what's yours.
Ain't no running from it, is it?
There is such evil in this world.
Not particularly one for evil.
Well, what if you're wrong?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I'm so excited to be announcing that we have with us Oscar nominated, and it feels really good to say that to you. Oscar nominated actor Guy Pearce here to talk about his new movie, Killing Faith, which comes out October 3rd, this Friday. Mr. Pearce, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody. How funny to, yeah, that Oscar nominated thing is a funny thing, isn't it? I've kind of forgotten about it, to be honest. So thanks for reminding me.
And for a more personal touch, you were also nominated by my Critics Guild for Best Supporting Actor as well, the Columbus Film Critics Society. We loved you in the Brutal.
Well, thank you. That was a pretty good film too, eh?
Yeah, it was. It's not as long as it's much longer than this one. Thankfully, this one's a lot shorter. This is a great movie though, and I loved your role here. Can you talk about wanting to do this, working with Ned?
Oh, look, Ned is an absolute delight. He really, he's a very smart guy. He's got a very cheeky and kind of wonderful view of the world, which was apparent in reading the script. And I think I read the script before I chatted to Ned. Yeah, and I was in Ireland shooting something, and we got on a Zoom together and just immediately connected, immediately felt a sort of kinship. He's got a great sense of humor. And I'd watched his previous film, Middleman, as well, which really struck me. And I know there have been comparison to sort of Coen Brothers style, but it's hard to pull that stuff off, I reckon, because things can feel a bit caricatured. But Ned's writing, his sort of ability to realize interesting characters who are on the edge of whatever dilemma, you know, are they going to go left or are they going to go right? I think he realizes that stuff very well, and that's great stuff for me to play. That's great stuff for anyone to play, but that's, you know, that questioning in life is a really fascinating road to be on as an actor, because on one hand you can offer the absolute need for redemption, and on the other hand you can be, you know, playing really kind of vile stuff that turns people away. So, you know, and that's the beauty of characters in films, and that's the fascinating thing about real life, is that, you know, we have good days and bad days. And so this, I think, tapped into those real questions of good and evil, and the good and evil within us in small moments, in large moments, etc. And yeah, it was just a fascinating journey to get on board. So very happy that I did.
He mentioned you guys were discussing over music, and I see all of the equipment behind you. There's several synthesizers and several bells and whistles behind you. He mentioned that you guys had chatted over love of music and your music in particular. Can you want to expand on that for me a little bit?
Well, I just love making music. I mean, this is my studio here in Holland. I had a big studio in Australia, and I had to sell up and move to Holland. So I have most of my equipment here now in Holland, in this tiny little room. But I just love experimenting with music. I really obviously enjoy listening to music, and have been a fan of music and lots of great artists over the years. And I just find great it's just a very happy, creative place for me to be making arrangements, writing songs, coming up with harmonies, getting guitarists in to record bits. And, I just really enjoy sort of being a producer, I suppose, but it's of my own stuff. I have kind of, I'm always saying to young, talented friends who are writing songs, if you want to come to my studio, I'll record them for you, come to my studio because I actually love recording other people's music that I'm not doing anything except recording it for them. So, yeah, it's just a great passion of mine.
I love that. I used to be a musician myself. I was a bit of a singer in my day.
Well, with that hair, you've got to be a musician.
I mean, thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
it was my thing. I want to touch on something that I thought was interesting about this film that I mentioned to Ned. You mentioned it a little bit too. I was talking about how much I see a little bit of Robert Meacham's Night of the Hunter in the conversations of the good hand and the bad hand with every character in this film. Every character is living on both hands, and it's just about which side ends up inevitably winning. Uh, we were talking about a lot of influences from other westerns as well, such as The Searchers, obviously visually. Uh, did you look at and did you pick out any characters in westerns for your own role?
No, I didn't, and I tend to try and avoid doing that, to be honest, because
Okay.
if I feel myself um stepping into any previous shoes, then I kind of immediately feel like I'm committing plagiarism. So if anything, and not so much for this film, but if anything, if ever I'm drawing on anybody, it's usually of people that I know in real life, and it might just be for some reason there might be a way in which a particular old friend used to deal with a heightened stressful situation, and I kind of go, that's interesting, actually. That might be something that I employ in this character. But that would be as close as I get to emulating or drawing on people that I know of. And as I say, if it's been done in a film before, I kind of try and keep away as much as I can because it's hard enough as it is to be original, let alone if you're actively, you know. But I just never feel like I need to because if it's jumping off the page and I'm imagining the character, then I'm done. I'm good. I don't need to go and look at anything. If I'm having to go and look at stuff, then I feel like we're in trouble a bit. If I'm there going, I don't quite see this character and I'm going to go and have to watch some Westerns or I'm going to go and have to read some books or I'm going to have to think about people I know, then I think I'm in trouble because I don't believe it as much as I want to believe it. And I really have to
Uh,
believe the character I'm playing.
I love that. I actually love that answer. I'm glad you said that because this is clearly it's a role that you really embraced, and you can tell by watching the picture itself.
Well, thank you. And I think that there are a number of dichotomies and a number of sort of, dilemmas that even if Bender isn't articulating them or isn't sort of particularly aware of them, he's being drawn in two different directions constantly, whether that's escaping from himself or berating himself, feeling guilty about his past and his wife and, child, etc. And then as I say, trying to escape that, feeling kind of guilt and responsibility, and at the same time he's can be quite repellent and offhand, as if he doesn't care about anything. So just those kind of qualities and traits were quite clear to me on the page, and great things to play. Yeah.
And I think you nailed this. I have to say, I made a joke with Ned. I said, "This is some of the best overly dehydrated acting I've seen since you were in the Rover." Honestly,
It's my forte, being dehydrated acting. If you want,
yes,
dehydration, get Guy Pearce.
yes, that's what I was mentioning because he was talking about the conditions on set and how he was like, "No, no, we want you dirtier, we want you nastier." And can you talk about working with that as like an
Oh,
atmosphere?
well, I'm never one to pull back on that stuff. I mean, I'm literally in the proposition saying, stop washing my shirt, stop ironing my shirt and hanging it up in the trailer for me when I come in the morning. I'll take it off. I'm going to screw it up in a ball, roll it in the dirt, and then we're going to leave it in the pile. And in the morning when I come back in, I'm going to unroll it and put it back on. Stop washing my shirt and because I have to keep starting from scratch all the time. So the kind of the because I really feel like built-in grime that exists in grimy people, if it's not really in deep, it just looks like makeup plonked on, you know. So I'm more than happy to. And you know, the makeup artists are like, "Well, you're gonna have a hard time washing this off every night." I'm like, "I'm not gonna wash it off every night. I'm gonna make myself look decent enough to go to the supermarket, and then I'll hand the money over, and they'll see my fingernails and go, "Oh, what have you been doing?" And then I'll go home and I don't care, you know. So
I
it's
love that.
fun getting dirty, you know, because it also it does so much of the work for you then. If I'm looking at my hands and I'm all clean, then I then feel like I've got to compensate.
You have to
So
get into the mindset of being gritty and being dirty in that
yeah, as
West. And
opposed to
now,
just going, "Oh, look at me, I'm really great," you know. And then the work starts like putting on a costume. You know, when you put your costume on, you're then 10 steps closer to the character. So makeup and grime and blood, and I mean, you know, and this was a pretty grotty one. I remember there was a couple of days when, you know, where because I've got a few tattoos that we had to cover as well. So covering tattoos and adding scars and blood, and then they call lunch, and you're like, "All right, hang on, I got to go and eat my lunch like this." Yeah, so it was pretty
I
grotty.
love that. I have a question for you, and I ask every guest this question. And since it's the first time you're here talking with me, hopefully not the last, we're going to ask it to you. And
Okay.
I kind of know where you're going to go, but I want to see what you say. You have two movies to watch for the rest of your life. What two and why?
Well, wow, that's a big question. I mean, I've often referred to The Elephant Man as a film that has greatly affected me, and I will go back and watch it every couple of years, you know, and a couple of reasons, mainly primarily because I've got a sister with an intellectual disability, and you know, this film I watched when I was 12, and there's just something about the tone of that movie that is deeply affecting, and the 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 pain that you feel as an audience member watching somebody who is treated the way that they are because of how they are in the world is something I could relate to through via my sister. So that film struck me like no other film ever has, you know. So that would be one. Funnily enough, trying to choose another one is a really difficult question because
Yeah.
there are so many films that have struck me in different ways. And the problem that I have, it's like when people ask me what my favorite music is, and I go, well, it depends if I'm in the mood for the Cocteau Twins, or if I'm in the mood for Jeff Buckley, or if I'm in the mood, you know. So
Those are
it's
both
kind
good
of hard.
choices.
It's kind of hard, you know, like what the other one might be. I suppose I would probably, you know, I'd probably try and find something a bit uplifting. Um, I suppose as a counter to the Elephant Man, because that's quite sort of bleak. I'd have to think about it though. Can you give me time to think about it, and I'll come back with a.
Yes. While we do that, here's what I'll do. Why don't you tell people why they should check out Killing Faith when it comes out on Friday while you're thinking about that?
Okay, well now it's two things I've got to think about. Okay, why people should check out Killing Faith? I think there's a great sense of humor underlying Killing Faith. There's actually a great sense of kind of tragic, almost Shakespearean type humor that just you know sits at the bottom of this film, as well as it tapping into the notion of good and evil and the notion of whether we carry good or evil or both, or and how we reconcile those two extremes. And I think that Ned, our director, our writer director, does a brilliant job of making you look at that rather extreme difference, but he sort of holds your hand with a lovely sense of humor through the process. So hopefully people are entertained by it as well as really moved, and as well as asking themselves the questions about good and evil, you know.
Well, I can say I was entertained by it. I watched it this morning, and I thought it was great. I actually really loved your performance. Like I said, dehydrated acting at its finest. Get that man some water, please. No, it was great. It was you and Dewana were brilliant together. And I want you to give me one word to describe Dewana and to describe Ned, the director, as well as one word to describe Jack.
DeWanda, divine. Absolutely divine. Ned, exquisite. Love him so much. He's exquisite. He's just charming. He's funny. He's brilliant. He's gorgeous, a human being. Yeah, yeah.
I
Is that
love
who?
that. And then Jack.
Oh, hilarious. And brilliant. Well, yeah. What word would I give you for him? yeah, eye-opening. He's quite the talent.
I
Quite the
love it.
talent, I have to say.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think that that's great. We're pretty much out of time, so I'll let you see if you want to holler that movie that second movie. I'll go ahead and do an outro for everybody. Thank you so much, Mr. Guy Pearce, for your time today, and we appreciate you spending time to talk about this new film. I hope everybody will check it out on Friday when it comes out. Did you have that second answer for me?
I'm going to choose one that I know my son likes very much, and I'm sorry to say it's a film that I'm in. It's called Back to the Outback.
Okay, I haven't seen that one. I'll have to check that one out.
I play Frank the Spider.
Oh, is it an
The kids
animated
love
film?
it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, for Film Style Reviews, this has been William and Mr. Pierce. We really appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.